Your daily dose of sports talk is here. Highlights, interviews, and analysis. From the entertainment capital of the world, SportsWrap with Jason Page starts now.
And we welcome you to it on this Monday edition of the show. Good to have you all with us all across the United States and Canada. Hello to our friends watching on Game Plus. And wherever you may be watching, courtesy of our YouTube channel, the SportsWrap with Jason Page YouTube channel, we welcome you. Thanks for being with us for the next 60 minutes. We got a lot to get into to kick off the week. We'll be joined by Sam Yarnell. Get into some of the top stories of the day. Jerry Bonkowski will be here, longtime NASCAR writer and reporter. Talk about Corey Heim's big win at the Brickyard 400 on Sunday. So there's that to get into. Wild story out of kind of the NFL involving one of the more prominent coordinators in the league. We'll talk about that coming up. Michael Kim shot a 59 last Friday, but he didn't win the 3M Open. We'll tell you who did. And just how often do guys that shoot sub-60 rounds on the PGA Tour actually win the tournament that they shot it in? We'll get into that as well. WNBA All-Star Weekend, more reaction to LeBron joining the Philadelphia 76ers. Baseball to talk about too, but we start things out as we always do on this Monday edition of the show. It's time for the big story. And the big story is presented by the Daily Wrap, our Substack newsletter. Monday through Friday, available for free. The Daily Wrap Substack newsletter from SportsWrap with Jason Page has everything you could ever want from the show. Actually, it just usually recaps the big stories that we're talking about. It's great. If you have an opportunity, subscribe. It's free. Just scan the QR code right there. Scan that QR code. I'll even leave it up throughout the entire segment in case you forget. Scan that QR code. You're subscribed to the SportsWrap Daily newsletter. All right. Weird story from the NFL that emerged last week as the 49ers were reporting for training camp. We found out that Kyle Shanahan, the head coach of the San Francisco 49ers, who really play in Santa Clara, which is really not all that close to San Francisco, that Kyle Shanahan was involved in a serious motor vehicle accident. We found this out as training camp was getting underway. More than a week and a half after this accident occurred on July 14th. Follow with me on this. So the head coach of one of the most prominent franchises in all of the NFL, one of the most prominent franchises in the Bay Area, a guy who's been to a Super Bowl, guy who's led a team as an offensive coordinator to a Super Bowl, the son of one of the great head coaches of the game in Mike Shanahan. That Kyle Shanahan gets into a motor vehicle wreck, is seriously injured, and nobody had the story. Now think about this for a second. Now there is so much conjecture out there about how this happened. There are people that are suspecting or suggesting that the 49ers told some of the media members about this, but said, just keep it quiet until camp begins. There are some people suggesting that media guys were protecting the team. My first response to that is, protecting from what? According to the police reports, which eventually came out on this, he didn't do anything wrong, Kyle Shanahan. It wasn't like he was DUI or driving while suspected of being under the influence of anything. Hi, Tony Romo. We see you. It wasn't like any of that was going on. This was a motor vehicle accident in which the head coach of the San Francisco 49ers was seriously injured. Nobody had this story. In a world where nothing can be kept a secret, in a world where everything leaks, sieves are everywhere, especially in sports. You mean to tell me that not one single solitary San Francisco 49ers beat writer, not one Adam Schefter, Jay Glazer, take your NFL national writer of choice, not one had this story. I find that very hard to believe. It stretches credulity, to be honest. It beyond stretches credulity. It can't be true. Somebody had to have had this story. If not multiple reporters had to have had this story. That's the way that I'll even take it. I don't even have to take it from the angle of the Niners had to ask guys in the media and women in the media not to report the story. I don't even have to take it from that angle. You mean to tell me that whoever the guy that was involved in the accident with Kyle Shanahan didn't tell a friend or a friend of a friend, and it didn't somehow this had to have made it to 49ers media, which then they go to the team and say, hey, what can you tell us about this? And then maybe at that point the team says, hey, we'd prefer this not to get out there until, the season begins. We live in a society, now I'm going to get on my high horse a little, where trust for the media is at an all-time low. Some of that comes from certain places, we'll just say, that insist on attacking the media and trying to challenge its credibility, right? Stories like this don't help. There's the whole Diana Rossini thing that took place after the NFL season ended, with her and the pictures and Mike Vrabel, and what we still don't know the full context and story of what happened. People will make their assumptions. But if we're going to crucify, as many in the media have, Diana Rossini for being too cozy with Mike Vrabel and whatever that relationship was, shouldn't we at least start to question whether media members and people covering teams are trying to curry favor with those teams, not by sleeping with anybody, but by squashing a story that shouldn't have been squashed? We're not talking about some low-level assistant of the San Francisco 49ers. We're talking about the head coach of one of the most prominent franchises in sports, the San Francisco 49ers, getting into an accident and nobody has the story? Color me suspicious. I don't think that everything that could have been done to report this story was being done. And now you've got reporters trying to defend themselves from attacks and the Tim Kawakamis of the world. Have at it. Somebody had this story and sat on it. Maybe not everybody, but somebody did. And that's the big story. We're coming back. We're going to talk some baseball. Sam Yarnell is here. Also, this story and more. Don't go anywhere. Welcome back to the show. I've had my say in the big story. And on this Monday, for the first time, we say hello to Sam Yarnell. Oh, look at him. He's got his Bills gear on. He's ready for football. Look at him.
Training camp this week.
Yesterday was the last Sunday without football until
I saw that, yeah.
Like mid-February. Right?
Last Sunday this year, Jason. Last Sunday this year without football. We made it through it. Now, I will say, those of us who are real D-gens like myself have been paying incredible attention to the Canadian Football League all summer long. I mean, you remember I was at BC Lions at Hamilton Tiger Cats early in the season. Man, the BC Lions have absolutely fallen off, but that's a story for a different day.
I said this in the big story, and I'm curious to get your thoughts on it. Not to harken back to our friend Diana Rossini, who's obviously been put through the ringer for her relationship with Mike Vrabel, whatever that relationship may wind up have been, or what it might have been. It's kind of interesting that people will lose their minds over this whole Mike Vrabel story, and Diana Rossini's out of a job. When you had an entire football media community basically protecting a story about Kyle Shanahan and not reporting a story about Kyle Shanahan that took place on July 14th, where he gets in a car wreck. And there's so many angles to this that I can't understand. One of them being, of all the stories that we're trying to, it wasn't even his fault from what it sounds like. So what were they protecting from? What were they why would you sit there and do the bidding of the 49ers if you're the Bay Area media, Sam, for a story? And if they were willing to cover that up, what other things has the Bay Area media been hiding from us when it comes to the teams they cover?
So I've obviously been thinking about this a lot because it's all anybody wants to talk about right now. And Jason, you and I a lot on this show, we talk about where we are within the juncture of sports on the whole, right? Where are we right now within sports history, right? Sure. And what this entire Kyle Shanahan situation has made me realize, especially as a journalist, especially as somebody who spent years and years in school to be a journalist, especially as somebody who knew since he was a young teenager that he wanted to be a journalist. Yeah. The reporters, again, you have to put that in air quotes these days, who are at the highest levels, who are paid the most money by, these 3 and 4 letter networks, are at this juncture, at this point in sports history, and it's a result of many things. The size of the NFL, the popularity of the NFL relative to other sports means that this is especially true in the NFL, but it's true across sports. The highest level of reporter in modern sport has become way too entitled. Has become entitled beyond belief. And Jason, you and I, two guys who have spent, you much longer than I, but two guys who have spent a very long time, right? A combined, 30, 40 years between the two of us, working at the lower levels of sports media, understand that those people at the higher levels, those people with the loudest voices, those people with the biggest followings aren't always the hardest workers, but they always, in a modern day, have become the most entitled. And this Kyle Shanahan story is nothing but an exact portrayment of this. The 49ers have no liability. The 49ers have no right. They are not by any regulation forced to disclose any information, any health information, any injury information about their coach. They're not, right? If someone finds something out, that's great. They can report it all they want. The team has every right to say, it's our coach. We don't have to tell you anything. We don't need to report on coaches' injuries. That is not required anywhere within the literature of the NFL, right? A perfect example of this. And the exact one that came to my mind when this whole thing kind of started to spew and Mike Florio made an absolute embarrassment of himself yesterday and all this thing went on and on and on. Last year, not Mike Vrabel, another New England Patriot coach, the defensive coordinator for the New England Patriots, Jason, all season long battled cancer. All season long. We were not getting preseason updates about, hey, just so everyone knows, this guy, our defensive coordinator thinks he might have cancer. He's going to go get a check-in today. He's going to go get an MRI today about it. Hey, just so you know, this is the status of whatever the tumor is, however the cancer is developing. We weren't getting weekly updates about that. It is not our journalistic right to know about any of that stuff, and it is not the team's responsibility to disclose any of that stuff. It is ridiculous how entitled reporters at the highest level, paid the most by these 3 and 4 letter networks, have become.
If the media knew about it, should they have reported it?
It's the coach. It's the coach. You don't need to. You don't need to.
We're not even talking about an assistant. We're talking about the head coach of the team is in a serious car accident, and we're not going to report on it?
And I think it was handled absolutely perfectly. I don't think you needed to report on it in the middle of vacation time. I don't think you needed to report on it when everybody else in the building was off doing their own thing. And you didn't need to bring the entire PR department back 2 weeks early from their vacations that they had planned for weeks and weeks and weeks, because all these people work really freaking hard, especially, like I just said, at the lower levels, for what? 40 weeks out of the year? Let's give them their time off, and let's give them their privacy. We don't need to invade we don't need to invade team employees' privacies. That's my point here. We don't need to invade team employees' privacies.
It's not privacy. I don't understand. I don't understand where the privacy issue is. It's a public car wreck. I mean, it happened on a public street. It's not like it happened on some private road. Sure, you can know that he got into a car
wreck, but wanting to know the extent of all his injuries is very private, actually.
When the guy
private.
When it now impacts the fact that he is not the coach to start training camp, he is not the head coach of the team to start training camp, yeah, it matters. It matters.
Again, where was this energy last year with the New England Patriots? Where was it?
Again,
they went to the freaking Super Bowl. They didn't have their defensive coordinator all year.
Not saying I disagree with you, by the way, but it was an assistant, and we didn't know, and we obviously didn't know.
It wasn't an assistant. It was a coordinator.
Right. It's an assistant. It's not the head coach of the team, is what I'm saying. Listen.
Okay.
I think if we're talking about journalists' responsibility, job is to report on the team. They should have reported on it. We're coming back. Welcome back. Guest update. Linda Cohn will be on the show next week. Former ESPN Sports Center anchor. Have some fun with her on the show. Talk about her new show on YouTube and life after ESPN. I'm sure she has some interesting reactions to all the turmoil at the four-letter network, Sam Yarnell, of which there has been plenty over the last week. Kathy Engelbert meets the press at the WNBA All-Star Game this weekend. By the way, congratulations to AZ Fudd, former UConn Husky. Top pick in the WNBA draft. First rookie ever to win the WNBA's three-point shootout during All-Star Weekend. And yeah, I always laugh when people people try to diminish what the WNBA is and what it's become and all of these different things that kind of make me chuckle by showing, the worst highlights from the WNBA All-Star Game. I saw, some people put these compilation videos together of the worst from the WNBA All-Star Game. Angel Reese tripping over her own feet, things like that. Have you watched the All-Star Game for the NBA? I mean, I think in 10 years there probably won't even be any All-Star Games anymore. I mean, really. I think the way we're pacing right now, I wouldn't be shocked if in a decade, when you are still looking young and vibrant like you are, and I'm old and gray sitting in a retirement home barking at the clouds, that we're probably going to be talking about an era where there are no All-Star games, Sam.
Yeah, that's interesting. Maybe in basketball, potentially. In the WNBA, I hope. I mean, I'll say it on the show if you won't. And Jason, you know this. I am a staunch supporter of women's sports. Have been for a lot longer than since it was popular.
That
since
means
Caitlin
Sam
Clark
is
became
about
all the rage.
That means Sam is about to say something really bad about the WNBA, ladies and gentlemen.
Yeah, this was a bad weekend for the WNBA. This was not a good weekend for the WNBA. They got to get out of their own way. It's getting bad. It's getting bad, Jason. It's getting to the point where it's starting to feel like they're ruining a growth opportunity. It's really getting to a point where the WNBA has to do something. And this is not a Kathy Engelbert thing, because I think Kathy Engelbert has done a very, very, very good job.
What?
I think I do.
I think that this has
been what?
On what planet has she done a good job?
I think that she has handled what is inarguably the most difficult period in the WNBA's, granted, short history incredibly well. That said, this All-Star game was an abject disaster. Disaster.
3 words.
It was horrible. I stopped watching in the first quarter. Speaking of which, didn't even mention the skills competition the night before, which was good for exactly one group. It was Elena Deladon's group, because they were absolutely wet from the half court shot. They could not miss. I think they went 8 of 10 from half court, and every other group was horrible. I don't know what it is. For just about every other sport and every other league, I have a solution like this. I don't know what it is for the WNBA, but this was a bad weekend. It was.
Sam, did you know the TV ratings for the WNBA are better than the TV ratings in the regular season for the NHL? Did you know that?
On what channel? Ion TV? Sure.
No. CBS. CBS. They are doing better numbers than the NHL does. So, and I said this last week on the show, for everybody who wants to talk about the doom and gloom of the WNBA right now, Sam, the league is still succeeding. If you want to make an argument for Kathy Engelbert, the argument is franchises have never been more valuable, attendance is up, and TV ratings are up. All the other stuff is noise, and maybe to a degree, Sam, maybe some people are watching because of the noise, as bad as that noise may be.
No, but what you're saying is the entire problem. It's kind of my point. There are more eyes, again, and this is why Kathy Engelbert has done a phenomenal job. One,
I think she's toothless, but
there are more eyes on the WNBA right now than there have ever been before, right? In the WNBA's history. And that is a result of a lot of hard work from Kathy Engelbert and people in her office, right? But at the same time, while that is happening, you have whatever the hell is even going on between, it feels like, Caitlin Clark and every other player in the WNBA. Like, it is actually insane how you can get to a point and do so much good hard work that you have all these eyes on you, and then one, let a situation develop like has in the WNBA, and two, have the All-Star Game letdown of 2026 that you just had. Like, that is what I mean when I say the WNBA has to stop tripping over itself. You've been handed the baton. Now run with it. Don't walk like what you're doing right now.
We could definitely debate this some more, but I want to ask you about LeBron because you didn't get to weigh in on it, and we only got a couple minutes left in the segment. If he wins, I just had this debate on a radio station in Connecticut this morning. I argue, and I know where I think you're going to stand on it. If he wins a title in Philadelphia, is the GOAT debate over?
No. Bet you didn't think I was going to say that.
I did not think you were going to say that.
Why is it not over if he wins the title in Philadelphia? Because it's already over before he even signed the contract in Philadelphia. What are we doing here? LeBron James is the greatest basketball player of all time. It's not even a question. He could ride Pine for 2 years straight, and he would still be the greatest basketball player of all time. But this gives me an opportunity to tell everybody why he's better than Michael Jordan. Let's just remember, when Michael Jordan went to his last team, one of the reasons that I despise Michael Jordan as much as I do, it was the Washington Wizards. What did he do, right? He bought into the team as an owner because he just needed to be in basketball somehow, and then was super involved with being the GM to the point where he messed up the draft for the team and then said, you know what? I'm going to come out of retirement while I'm an owner, come play for the team and ruin their chances. What does LeBron James do when he goes to his last team? He makes them the co-favorites to win the freaking conference. That's why LeBron James is the greatest basketball player of all time.
The one argument that will go against him is the one title, the one time where his team was the better team and didn't win a championship. The loss to the Mavericks is the one that's going to hurt him the most in the GOAT debate. That's the one. Because that was the only one that he lost where you could argue he wasn't the best. We're coming back. Welcome back to the show. Hall of Fame weekend in Cooperstown. You know what was kind of cool this weekend, Sam? You'll appreciate this. Somebody who played baseball, and I played, Little League up through high school and all that. All the baseball tournaments that were taking place in Cooperstown while the Hall of Fame weekend stuff is going on. I have a friend, Andrew Bogish, who I used to work with. Used to work for CBS Sports Radio, WFAN. Worked with him at Sirius for years. And watching his son play these games in Cooperstown for like these select teams and stuff like that, these travel teams that get to play in these tournaments in Cooperstown while the Hall of Fame weekend stuff is going on. Very cool. And his kid hit his first home run ever, and it was in Cooperstown. Like, so awesome. Very cool stuff. Hall of Fame weekend, which we'll try to get to here for a couple of minutes on the back end of this segment. The Miz, who knows, one day could be in Cooperstown. You never know. Maybe the fact that he's throwing... You know what will be in Cooperstown for him? You know what will be in Cooperstown? Baseballs. The fact that he's throwing all these 104-mile-an-hour fastballs. There'll be some denotation of that in the Hall of Fame, I think, at some point, for how hard he throws the baseball. That could be, maybe... Yeah.
Eventually, he's going to throw one so hard, the seams are going to spontaneously combust on the way to the plate, and that thing's going to get its own little case in the Hall of Fame. They might build a wing for all the baseballs that he destroys if he just keeps pitching this way.
And what's left of his shoulder will also be in the Hall of Fame. Did he strike out the first 7 Rockies in his start this weekend? I mean, he just keeps doing these sort of wow things. And that's the Miz. I mean, that's the story of the baseball season. There's still, I don't know if he's going to still wind up winning the Cy Young Award, but certainly for Jacob Misiorowski, another one of those weekends where you're reminded of the freakish nature of what it is he is doing. He is still the favorite at -260, by the way, to win the Cy Young Award.
Struck out the first. This is like one of the most insane pitching performances that you'll see just in like a single game. Struck out the first 7, gave up a flyout, then came back and struck out 4 in a row, I think. He struck out, so he gave up a flyout as the second out of an inning, then struck out the next guy, then struck out the side the next inning, and the guy after that. So what is that, 5 in a row after that? Like, the dude, flew through, and for those of you who are betting on this game, the dude flew through every single strikeout prop that they posted pregame, and I think he flew through just about every one that they hung in-game. The Brewers are fun. The Rockies are horrible, man. The Rockies are so bad. And there were people there were baseball people whose opinions I respect to an extent, who before this season were saying, man, watch out. These Angels and these Rockies, they could really stir some things up. Well, the Rockies do have a couple of young pitchers who have not graduated from being prospects yet. But man, I mean, it is LA, the Angels, and the Rockies, 2 of the worst franchises in baseball right now.
The Miz, 5 innings, 12 Ks, 1 hit, 1 earned. His ERA at 1.58 on the season now. Hunter Goodman will probably get dealt at the deadline. I'll be interested to see what they can get for him. What? You don't want Hunter Goodman?
Well, the report yesterday was that they were now with the Langoliers injury. In case you missed it, Shea Langoliers yesterday, torn meniscus, out for the season. So now the catcher market's all sorts of messed up. No one's going to pay what it costs to get Hunter Goodman. The weekend's developments have completely shifted the way that this trade market is going to work. If we're talking about the Marlins are going to have to sell. The Marlins are on a franchise. They're on the what? Franchise worst 12-game losing streak. Yeah. It's ugly in South Florida right now.
I had that in my notes about the Marlins. Which is crazy. They had the best June in the history of the franchise. And baseball's nuts. They had the best.
We thought the Cubs were streaky.
Yes, best week best month in the history of the franchise, and now they can't get out of their own way with this worst losing streak. I mean, but they're still. With that being said, they're still 3 out of the wild card spot. You're still all the way down to Cincinnati. I said this last week. I might have said it with you. I might have said it with David Ardsma. You basically have 6 teams that are out of contention right now to make the playoffs, and everybody else is still in it. And that's...
Which is just so funny to think about, Jason, because if in March or April that you told me that was the case, and one of those teams was in a wild card spot and the other was out of the playoffs, and the 2 teams we were talking about were the Nationals and the Mets, I would have bet you dollars to donuts that the Mets were the team in the playoff race and the Nationals were the team out of it. But here we are.
Yeah, your Nats made a deal, too. Got Connor Early from from the Red Sox this weekend.
Yeah, Connolly early.
Connor,
he's coming back from Tommy John, so I think Nats fans got a little out ahead of their skis. He's not going to pitch for like a couple of weeks still.
Yeah.
But yeah. I mean, the trade deadline's going to be hot this year.
It certainly is. Congratulations to all of those that made it into the Hall of Fame this weekend in Cooperstown. Obviously, 3 deserving players, I guess you could say. I'm not a Jeff Kent Hall of Fame guy. Andrew Jones, Carlos Beltran, and until Don Mattingly goes in, the Hall of Fame loses all credibility to me. So I'm not. Yeah.
Jeff Kent, I'm way too young. That's way too before my years. I will say this. Maybe it's just because I played baseball for so long, whatever the case may be. I love defense. Andrew Jones needed to be in the Hall of Fame. Thank goodness they put him in the Hall of Fame. Yeah, Carlos Beltran, I guess. So we're just going to let everyone associated with that Astros cheating scandal in the Hall of Fame?
We certainly are. We're coming back. Jerry Bonkowski talks NASCAR next. Welcome back to the show. We'll wrap it up with some odds and ends 10 minutes from now. A tragic story out of Kansas City, or out of Virginia as it would be, involving Eric Bieniemy and his family. We'll tell you about it coming up in about 10 minutes. And I have to ask this question, and I'll have the answer coming up in 10 minutes. Has anybody on the PGA Tour who shot a 59 in a tournament actually won that tournament? Latest example of that this weekend at the 3M Open. Jerry Bonkowski is here as we talk NASCAR every Friday and Monday on the show. We preview the race on Friday, recap it on Monday. Well, Heim time again. Who would have thunk it? 2 times in just 15 races. He's a part-time driver for Denny Hamlin's team over there. Try and explain it to me, Jerry, how Corey Heim winds up winning a race at a track he never even had seen until he showed up in Indianapolis last week, kind of dispelling the myth that you can't win at a track you've never even been to before. How does this happen?
I'll tell you, I like this kid. I wasn't completely sold on him until he won in Coronado in June. But then when he wins the Brickyard 400 and does it in a convincing fashion, it just, to me, I was talking to somebody last night about it, and I said, he reminds me a lot of the early Jeff Gordon, who, ironically enough, was the youngest driver to win the Brickyard 400. And then, then Corey Heim comes along, and that was in 1994. And then Corey Heim comes along and wins yesterday. So, very impressed with this young man. He's going to be full time next year for 23XI. And I think that if you look at where he's going, he's got a fantastic future. And the thing is too, he is so good right now that I started thinking when I was talking to my friend of mine, I said, well, what happens if he gets better, wins more races? Maybe Denny Hamlin, when he eventually retires from Joe Gibbs Racing, he said he wants to put in maybe 1 or 2 years with 23XI on his own, for racing for his own team. He may not have a spot because Corey's going to take his spot, if you know what I'm saying. So I'm very impressed with this young man. Definitely impressed.
Yeah, I don't know how you can't be, but there are a lot of people wondering about, the way this race transpired, about 35 laps left on the restart. Yep. He sort of blocks Hamlin. There's obviously going to be some frustration there for Denny Hamlin. What did you see? How did you see it?
It was a racing thing. I mean, and the thing is, if he had not tried to block Denny, would have been very upset that he literally gave Denny a free pass. You don't even do that to the boss. You don't. I mean, the boss is going to be watching you, and the boss is right behind you. If you block the boss, that's racing, and that's exactly what Corey did. Denny has absolutely no reason to be upset. I mean, he may have frustrated, maybe yes, but upset, no. I mean, this is your driver, and the name of the game is your driver has to win, even if it means beating you.
Denny Hamlin, this is like really the only thing missing from his resume when it comes to winning races. How many more opportunities is he going to get at this?
I'll bet you that Denny's last year's going to be next year. I just have a gut feeling that, especially with Corey going full time, Denny's 45, 46 years old now. he doesn't need, he's got all the money in the world. He doesn't need to do this anymore. And the one thing, unless I missed it, and correct me if I'm wrong, Jason, I didn't see Michael Jordan at the race.
I did not either. I
thought that was rather odd, because this is a crown jewel race, one of the 4 crown jewel races. And I was rather surprised that Michael Jordan wasn't there. But, as I was saying, I think Denny's got one more year in him. And if he doesn't win the championship, okay, he becomes the Mark Martin of his generation. If he doesn't win the Brickyard in his final try, he didn't win it. It's that simple. So, but I mean, he's a Hall of Famer, and no question about it. First time he'll be inducted right away. So, you can't win everything, is the way I always like to say it.
Christopher Bell, 6th second place finish this season for him. I mean, the frustration has to be growing for him at this point. 6 times finishing runner-up, not being able to get across the finish line first. What do you kind of attribute that to? And is it just a matter of time before he does win one this season?
Well, the way I look at it is this. He, even with 6 runner-ups, he's still doing great. I mean, would you rather
10th.
have 6 runner-ups, or would you rather have 6 30th place finishes? I mean, he's knocking on the door. And honestly, I'm one of those believers. And if you would have asked me this 15 years ago, I would have denied it. But today I will say it. I firmly believe that even if you have 6 runner-ups in the first 26 races or whatever it is, the last 10 are the ones that count. And he has a good chance of winning some of those races in the playoffs. So, yeah, maybe he hasn't won one now, but I could very easily see him win 2 or 3 races in the playoffs. So that's what's going to count the most.
All right, week off for NASCAR. No race this weekend. You look at the standings, sort of, who's sitting precariously in that playoff bubble right now. Shane Van Gisbergen at 15, Austin Cindric at 16, Ryan Preece, the first driver out. He had a good race this week, finishing 8th. What do you see transpiring here over the next couple of months? Who gets those final 2 spots?
Shane's got to hang on by the skin of his teeth, and he's shown us some decent races on ovals recently. So that's one. But the thing is, he's got to maintain that top 16. If he falls below, it's going to be harder to get back in rather than to get back out, if you know what I'm saying. One guy that I'm still kind of I think he's 50 points out right now, but I still think he might have a shot at it is Keselowski. I mean, he's, 17th or 18th right now. I'd like to see him get into it, but it's going to be a very interesting last few weeks of the regular season to see who's going to pull this off. But I think that you're going to see some surprises that make it, and you're going to see a couple of surprises that may not make it too.
Jerry Bonkowski does a great job with NASCAR, friend of the show. Enjoy the week off. We'll talk to you in a couple of weeks when NASCAR resumes its schedule.
Sounds good, man. Thanks a lot.
We got a lot more to do on the show. Odds and ends right around the corner. Don't go anywhere. As I said, news from the NFL, a terrible story involving Eric Bieniemy, and we'll get to the golf, too. All right, just about time for the wraps on this baby for a Monday. Before we do, some reminders. The Sports Wrap with Jason Page podcast is the place to listen to the show Monday through Friday. Maybe you're driving to work, you can't watch us, on the treadmill at the gym, laying in bed, in the shower, on an airplane, waiting for an airplane at the airport. The Sports Wrap with Jason Page podcast is there for you. 45 minutes, limited commercial interruptions, available Monday through Friday. Apple Podcasts, YouTube Podcasts, Spotify, iHeartRadio, TuneIn, Odyssey, Amazon, you name it. Anywhere you get a podcast, you can listen to this show Monday through Friday. We encourage you to do so. The Sports Wrap with Jason Page YouTube channel is the place to find all things Sports Wrap with Jason Page. From the visual standpoint, the Monday through Friday TV version of the show is available there. We also have Sports Wrap Originals, Sports Wrap Shorts, 1 to 3 minute long videos. We took the weekend off, not going to lie to you. We've been putting up a lot of content lately, so we didn't put much up there over the weekend. We appreciate those of you that have subscribed. Please continue to do so. A lot of great things coming to the YouTube channel. The Sports Wrap with Jason Page webpage. That's a mouthful. That is the place to find everything I just mentioned and more. The Monday through Friday TV version of the show, the audio podcast, the Substack newsletter if you have not subscribed yet, the Daily Wrap on Substack from SportsWrap with Jason Page. You can go and subscribe. Or you can just go to sportswrap.tv right now and subscribe. It's free. It's fantastic. You want to contact the show. You want to love us. You want to hate us. You want to critique us. You got a suggestion. We've got a place for that on the website. Bottom of the webpage, there's a contact section. Send us your notes, your love letters, your notes of admiration. We appreciate all of them just the same. Also there, the affiliate part of the website. If you're looking to find the show on TV, maybe you're watching us on YouTube right now, you want to find the show on TV, you can go and check it out on our website, sportswrap.tv. Just put in your city and state, and you can find out where to watch the show. All right, without any further delay on this Monday edition of the show, it is time for some odds and ends. Odds and ends, a bizarre story and just a tragic story coming out of Northern Virginia, where the wife of Chiefs offensive coordinator Eric Bieniemy was shot on Sunday night. Just a terrible story. And what makes the story more tragic, first of all, she's in serious condition. We can report that. The more tragic part of the story is that the son, Elijah Bieniemy, 27-year-old son of Eric Bieniemy, has been arrested as the suspect in her shooting. This is a terrible story. Eric Bieniemy wasn't at home. He was with the team at training camp. So obviously he didn't know about this, or obviously, we don't know what he knew, but we don't know the details of it. All we do know is the son has been arrested, and based on the charges you can deduce, they are suspecting he was the person that shot his own mother. Eric Bieniemy has left the Chiefs. He is going to go and be with his family right now, and we'll obviously update you on this as the week goes along, as we find out more details of just an awful story out of both the Kansas City Chiefs, the NFL family, the NFL community, and of course, Eric Bieniemy. Odds and ends, Mike Lombardi. Seen here, finding out he doesn't have to be the GM of the North Carolina Tar Heels football program anymore. No, I joke. Mike Lombardi here has been put on paid administrative leave. Just when you think it can't go worse or get any weirder with what's going on with North Carolina football since Bill Belichick took over the program, this happens. Mike Lombardi put on paid administrative leave. We don't know why. Pete Thamel was the first to report it, so kudos to him. But Mike Lombardi on paid administrative leave. Let's see, by the time we do the show tomorrow, when hopefully we'll have Bill Bender on the program from the Sporting News that does a great job on college football. By the time we come on the show tomorrow, will we know why Mike Lombardi was put on paid administrative leave? We're waiting for the story, because stories leak. Everything leaks. Even in mob fam, the only thing that hasn't leaked is where on earth Jimmy Hoffa is buried. Other than that, everything leaks. Odds and ends. Jackson Koiven is your winner of the 3M Open. 21-year-old Jackson Koiven just turned 21 in May. That Jackson Koiven that you've never heard of is your winner of the 3M Open at TPC Twin Cities this weekend. 25 under par. He was 3 shots better than Scotty Scheffler, who just can't get a win this year. Ever since winning at the very beginning of the season, the Amex out there in the greater Palm Springs area. Jackson Koiven able to hold him off despite an 8-under round for Scheffler in that final round. Koiven is your winner. You know who wasn't the winner? Michael Kim. And I had to go look this up because I was wondering, of the 16 guys that have shot sub-60 rounds in PGA Tour history, only 5 have wound up winning the tournament that they shot the sub-60 round in. The last to do it, Brandt Snedeker, shot a 59 at the 2018 Wyndham Championship. But only 5 guys? That's kind of crazy. I figured more would have won. Still, congratulations to Michael Kim. He was T10 for the tournament. It's going to do it for us on this Monday edition of the show. Thank you to Sam Yarnell. Thanks to Jerry Bonkowski. Thanks to all of you at home for watching. I'm Jason Page. We'll see you back here on Tuesday for an all-new edition of Sports Wrap. Till then, bye-bye.